Peace, love, and positivity, everybody. Boy, have I had an interesting few days. I have. Let me go find my chat. By now, if I go here and I go to my channel, yep, that's what I want to do. View my channel on the little live slot. Should be this. There it is. All right, mute that. There we go. Um, Let me pop that out. Poppy. And then I'm going to bring it over here and put it right there. AB Day, hello. Welcome. Good to see you. So, ever since I got this little scooter, which I dearly love, I've had a problem with being a weeble that wobbles and falls down. So, I went out for a ride Thursday. Cool. Well, he should keep cooking dinner because food is important. I mean, food is very, very important. You have no idea my relationship with food. Anyway, um, so I decided to go out for a ride. And I haven't been for a ride for a couple of weeks. Not a pleasure ride. I'd gone over to hang out at my friend's house and do some stuff over there, but that was just a ride over there and a ride back home. Yeah, that is a statement. Seven Dust, welcome. That is a statement that I will actually be getting into in this live. That very statement right there. That very very statement. You all saw the thumbnail. If you're here, you saw that my bike is laying on the ground. Um, I didn't have to. I didn't have to lay her down. That's the saddest part. This was yet another slow speed maneuver error on my part. I'm having problems with the trust and believe part that if I apply power to the back wheel when I feel like the bike is falling, that it will stand back up and go. It does every time I remember to do that. And every time I don't remember to do that, such as this last Thursday, um, it falls over. Now, you might think that the problem was the bike falling over and all that. That bent a clutch lever and yeah, it was all right. It was it's okay. What got me? I'm gonna go back to this photo. Let me share. Come on. Da, da, da. Uh, 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 uh. Wait, what did I do with it? Oh shit, I closed it. Hold on. Now I gotta do something different. I gotta think that down and then go over here, open up files. Sorry folks, I'm way out of practice. Um as some of you have heard though, I can sing again. Yeah, I am okay. I'm gonna get into that, Chef. Welcome. Keep cooking dinner. Keep cooking dinner. Dinner is important. I just had this discussion with ABD, so it's important. You got to dinner. Um, I don't trust drivers either. But once again, we didn't have anything to do with other drivers. I was all alone on this road. It was literally me going too slow and not remembering to throttle or let clutch out. Either one of those would have saved my butt. Let me get back to this. Hey, Snooks, welcome. Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. I appreciate all you guys coming in to hear about this story. I'm talking about this because it's something that could happen to anybody. And if you're an older rider like me, I'm 61, with significant health issues, then you have to be aware of some things. So I'm doing that. Big Mo, welcome. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. See, I'm not on the live chat. Why am I not on the, now I'm on the live chat. There we go. All right. No. I, from the drop, was completely uninjured. We're getting to that. I got to get this picture going here. So now we've got this open. Come on. I just got the notification that I'm live on my channel. How fantastic is that? All right. Let's go to saved and then to bagger. Let's open up this one and share. Now, can I share that? I hope. Window. Share. Is that going to come up? There it is. All right. So, as you see the bike laying here on the road, what it doesn't show is no, but I got hurt eventually every day. So you'll hear the whole story because I'm gonna tell the whole thing. So what you see here is deceptive. It looks as though I'm just on a flat piece of ground. I am not. I am in fact on a hill. It was handlebars down the hill at probably 4 degrees. Thank you, Steve-O. Appreciate that. Really appreciate all the well wishes, everybody. I am completely uninjured as far as this drop went, but I did injure myself trying to pick the bike up. Because it was laying downhill, when I tried to lift up the bike, my 500-pound bike weighed closer to 1,000 pounds trying to lift it against that gravitational pull, if you will. So where I'm at here is I have now pulled the front wheel. I was perpendicular across this picture when I started, but I didn't take a picture of the bike then. Anyway, I have moved the bike 90 degrees now. So now the front tire is facing uphill. And I have a better shot at lifting the bike. So at this point, I was able to put my butt down in the seat, lean into it hard, and get the bike to come up. But I did it like a Superman way. Instead of just gradually getting feet under and pushing back, I just went for it and got it up in the air and flipped around. I already had the brake locked. I did remember to do that. And about that time, a guy shows up and says, "Hey, can I help you?" I'm standing there holding my bike up at the side of the road with the brake locked and it's in gear. And I said, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, you can. I would be very happy to accept your help." Let me stop sharing this now. And so we proceeded to then take off the brake lock. He held it up while I got the brake lock off, bungee strap around the front brake. And then I put it into neutral while he was hanging on to the bike and was able to grab the front brake. We went around, turned around. I'm thinking, oh man, the worst is over. Everything's going to be just fine. It was not. It was not. Because I thanked him for his help, sent him on his way. His lovely girlfriend gave me a bottle of water and said, "Here, are you thirsty? You want some water?" I said, "Oh yeah, I'm very thirsty." It's 88 degrees, so it's pretty warm. I'm pretty tired by this point in time. And I get ready to put the kickstand down on the bike and let it sit there while I get my gear together, throw my leg over, get on the seat. And I realized that with the angle of downhill, I cannot put the bike on its kickstand. It's too much of an angle, and it'll just roll the bike, even in gear. It'll still just roll the bike forward and just slide. It's a pretty steep hill. Said that picture doesn't do it justice. So now I'm in a position where I'm beside the bike, facing downhill, holding the bike up, nearly exhausted, and I decide I've got to put the bike down in order to get the front brake locked again, so I have a shot at being able to get my gear onto the bike and get me on the bike and roll it down the hill. I'm not even trying to start the bike at this point. I just want to get leg over and roll down the hill. So the bike wouldn't stop going forward. So what I did is I shoved my boot, my right boot, underneath of the rear tire as tight as I could with my leg, and then slowly let off the front brake and allowed the bike to roll into my foot, put the bike in gear. At the same time, I'm using my other foot to help steady the bike. And then once that was all done and the bike stopped moving against my foot, I laid the bike down against a guardrail. And I did not get a picture of the bike against the guardrail. I'm sorry for that. But I got a picture of the aftermath. Like I said, I'm only halfway through this. I'm only halfway through this story at this point. The worst is yet to come. So now I'm going to share another picture so you can maybe get another thing in your mind. This right here is the side of the tank that I laid against the guardrail. As you can see, there was some small scratches placed in the tank. They're barely noticeable. And those that are noticeable, I mean, I realize some of these scratches, look bad. But if you look at the whole thing, my good friend Robbie, I love that brother. If you haven't checked out his channel, check out Robbie Stingle's channels. And yes, that was a shameless plug for my friend. Now, getting back to this, he pointed out to me that looks very, very much like a tornado. So although now don't worry, there's more story coming, folks, and more stories coming. I'll make sense of more of this as we go. But anyway, the tornado part's kind of cool. The fact that I did not think ahead enough to realize that I needed his help to put the brake lock back on the bike, get my gear set, and throw a leg over, that's on me. Just like the slow speed maneuver that made me tip over in the first place, going under 5 miles an hour. You will indeed. Nice, Seven Dust. Nice, Seven Dust. Well, I mean, it is a legitimate scar. This was done out of necessity. That's not patina. It is patina, but it's not, what's the word I'm looking for? God damn it, with guitars. Relicking. It's not relicking. It's just something that happened to the bike. So now I'm to this point. I'm going to stop talking about the bike and that, because now you've all seen that. You can all get a picture of the head. So by this point, I'm very, very tired. Like I said, I'm 61. Thank you, Snooks. Appreciate that. Appreciate you throwing that link up there. I'm very, very tired, as you can imagine. My heart's going a million miles a minute. The adrenaline is worn off by now. This is a full probably 40 minutes after the initial drop of the bike. Now, by the time I got it pulled around and back up and then turned around and now leaned into the guardrail, and I'm exhausted. And I decided I needed to go get in the shade. About 20 yards up the hill was some shade on the side of the road. It wasn't anything spectacular. A little bit of gravel. It was off of the main part of the road so traffic could go by. My bike was off the road so traffic could go by. So I went up there and I stood there for, I don't know, I'm going to say 20 minutes or so. And then I called a friend. And at this point, I still didn't realize that I had a big problem on my hands of getting this bike back upright and getting myself onto it. At this point, I think, all right, I can lock this is my brain. I think I can lock the brake while it's leaning against the guardrail. That damage is already done. Can't do anything about that. It is what it is. I can rewrap the brake with the bungee cord and then step into the gap between the seat and the bike, get it upright. La 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 la. That was in my head thinking. While I was nearly exhausted standing on the side of the road. I go back up, I stand in the shade, I call my friends, and of course, my friend's wife says, "Oh man, do you need some help? Do you need us to come and get you?" But we can head right out there. They're about 40 minutes away from where I was, so it wouldn't have been terrible to wait for them. I said, oh, no, 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 no. I'm past the worst of it now. Everything's going to be just fine. Everything's going to be just fine. I just needed to get a breather and catch my breath, and I'm going to be fine. I'm going to take a little bit more of a break. I'll talk to you guys for a little bit. And I talked to her husband again and my friend Chuck, and we chatted, and I told him that I was sorry that I damaged the bike and yada, yada, yada. And I also told him I was probably going to stop riding. I wasn't thinking real straight at this point in my life, and I was having some serious trouble with life decisions. So anyway, I said, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be okay. I'm about 20 minutes from home. I'll probably be home in a half an hour. I got to gather up a couple things for the bike yet and get it started, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right, brother, take care. Call me when you get home. So I trucked back down to the bike, and I've got to pick up my helmet. I've got to pick up my gloves. My gloves are on the other side of the road where the bike was originally dropped, and then bungee cords I dropped over there that I had wrapped around the brake when I disconnected. I just let them fall to the ground. I buy these little tiny bungee cords. They're about, I don't know, 3/16 or a quarter of an inch in diameter, and I buy them as throwaways. They're to get broken, get lost, or whatever. They're just there for this kind of thing. So I'm thinking that's all I need to do, and I start doing that. I get down there, I get to the bike, and I look it over. Everything's looking okay. I did have the presence of mind to shut off the fuel, so I hadn't leaked any fuel to speak of. Maybe an eighth of a cup, not very much by the time I got the fuel shut off. So I got that looked over, went across the street, found that no, it wasn't target fixation, Chef. It was going too fucking slow and not trusting that letting the clutch out more and putting more power to the rear wheel or accelerating a little more on the accelerator would have made the bike stand up again. It literally went too slow, and physics proved me wrong again. The bike under 5 miles an hour with no power to the rear wheel will fucking fall over. 100%. This is a mistake I keep making, and I keep testing. I've 4 times now. I've done it 4 times. And I consider myself an intermediate rider. I'm not very experienced. Most of my riding experience was 30 years ago, but I've got recent experience, and is what it is. But yeah, it wasn't target fixation. It was a lack of acceleration or letting the clutch out. Either one of those things would have kept me from dropping the bike. So I'm off the phone with my friend now, and I'm down at the bike looking it over, and I got that tit up, and I had double checked my I've double checked my brake to make sure that it is fully engaged, and it is, and I'm fine. I'm still in gear. I walk across the road, pick up my gloves, start looking for the if I can find them, the 2 bungee straps. And no, I am not. I am not. You are 100% correct. So I picked that stuff up. I found one of the bungee cords. The other one's still up there. I don't know. Maybe somebody will think it's a garter snake and find it. I don't know. But I get back across the road, and as I'm walking back across the road, I realize that I am suddenly nearly, if not more tired than I was when I originally went up into the shade and sat down and then called my friends and talked to them for a few minutes. Head was getting light. I was not feeling well at all. Definitely was feeling the heat. Feeling, I don't want to say faint, but weak. So I trudged back up the 20 yards back up the hill again into the shade. And I realized at that point that I have to cool down, and I don't have any water. Point number 3, I didn't bring anything with me. No water, no nothing. Well, I had my phone, but that didn't help me needing some water. Normally I carry 3 or 4 bottles of water on me. Yeah, it was adrenaline crash, 100%. 100%, all the adrenaline was gone. And I was suddenly absolutely done. So I I didn't know what else to do. I was alone. I tried to call my friends back, but unfortunately, when I walked back up, I walked to a slightly different spot, and the slightly different spot I was in now didn't have service on my phone. So I couldn't call my friends back and say, "Hey, I was wrong. Come on and help me." So I took off my boots and my socks. It took me 10 minutes to take off my boots. I have a double easy lace at the top and then just pull them loose and flip them off. I usually have my boots off in less than 20 seconds, and that's sweaty and tired from a long day riding. It took me 10 minutes to get my boots and my socks off. Yep, 100%. So I get my boots off. I realize I gotta go all in here. I gotta take my shirt off as well. So I take my shirt off, and I realize I can't sit up anymore. So now there's some real fear. I'm afraid that I don't know what's going to happen because I cannot physically sit up anymore. So I laid the shirt out on the ground in the dirt. At this point, I'm coming down onto my knees and then moving forward towards the shirt. I literally laid down with my face on the top of the shirt so I didn't have to breathe in the fine dust at the side of the road. And just laid there and let myself sweat. 2 or 3 cars went by me. I didn't look up. I was too tired to look up. I didn't have enough strength to lift up my head and see if it was a robber or a savior or police or anything. And I agree with the ooey on the peeing, but when we're talking about an absolute survival thing, yeah, these kinds of things can keep you alive. I didn't have to do any of those things, and we're glad of that. But I was a 61-year-old guy laying on the side of the road on my shirt in the dirt with my bike leaning against a guardrail 20 yards away, my helmet on the ground, and my gloves laying on the far side of the road. I don't think I could have driven past that. I don't think I could have driven past that. But these couple of 3 people did. That's an estimation because although I do not think I totally lost consciousness, I lost complete track of time. All I could focus on was, peeing on yourself to get, then you have to have convection. You have to have air coming. Yeah. I'm not Survivor Man. Clearly I'm not Survivor Man. But I am saying these things. I've spent 3 days recovering from all of this. And the biggest hurt to me is the physical hurt I did to myself trying to lift that bike back up. My bike only weighs 500 pounds wet. Anyway, after I'd laid there for XYZ amount of time, a nice lady stopped, asked me if I was okay. By this time, I had enough strength to look up. I said, "Yes, ma'am, I got overheated, and I took my boots and stuff off, and I am feeling better now. By now, I could breathe normally. I could think more clearly. Things were starting to make more sense in my brain." So what's all this mean? Why am I doing this live and telling you all how stupid I am? Because the lessons I've taken from this are never leave without being prepared. I did. I didn't have any water with me. I didn't have any medication with me. I didn't even have my nitro with me. Now, I didn't end up needing the nitro, but it sure would have been nice to have if I would have, based on what happened. Yeah, it's an 883. Yeah, it's 500 pounds wet. But leaning downhill, because the slope of the hill was like this. I know that picture doesn't show it, but it was. So when you saw the bike with the tire facing uphill, the tire was clear up here to do it. So being down this way, down the hill, there was no way I was going to lift that bike up this way. So point number 2, know your limits. Realize that you're not 17 anymore. I had service and I had my friends on the phone, and I should have just said, yes, I need you to start heading this direction. If I get clear, I will call you and let you know that I am okay and you can turn around and go back home. That would have been the smart thing to do, but I was not thinking straight. So, lesson number 3, take time to sit down and assess your situation. And you might even want to do that first. I might have should have done that before I even attempted to pick up my bike the very first time. Lord Spike, welcome. So I got a little damage on the bike. I learned some valuable lessons. Go prepared. Take your supplies with you. Water, medications, that kind of stuff. And the final thing for myself, what would it have also helped me, besides not having too much pride, would have been to have one of those self-lifting bike winches. Not the kind you need to tie to a tree or a car or whatever, but the kind that have the collapsible and assembled poles, and you can use the strap to ratchet the bike up itself. That would have been a game changer for me. They're not cheap. They're about $300, but I think that if I'm going to keep riding, it's something that should be in my saddlebag along with the water and my pills and other things. And that's what I really want out of this, is somebody else out there to realize, yeah, don't be Superman. Even if you are young and healthy and happy and you are still then. Yep. Dan, I love that guy. Such a good guy. Now he is a bit morose. He's hard to take in large doses because he talks real shit. He talks about real problems, real stuff, real people that hurt, died, whatever. And yeah, Snooks, we are. So I'm not going to quit riding, and I got to get over to my friends. I'm still waiting for the hip. The hip is the last part to get past. Everything else is pretty much working normal, but my hip and my low back on the right side, where I was trying to lift that bike, yeah, that was a mistake, and a mistake I won't make again. So, I just caught that comment, Seven Dust. Oh my God. So that was beautiful. You're not stupid, or not that one. Where'd it go? I lost it. Oh, here it is. Just imagine you are a Karen, and this is not the mocha latte I ordered. Absolutely beautiful. Indy, welcome. Good to see you here. Thank you for dropping by. Mr. B, hope you're going to have a live soon. Thinking about singing some country. Anyway, that's what this is all about, folks, is just to share what happened to me, let people know why I've dropped out of everything pretty much for the last 3 days, and what I've been doing. And don't do what I'm doing. I mean, go ride. If you want to ride, go ride. Absolutely. I advocate riding. But do the other things, too, to take care of yourself and make sure you're as safe as you can be. Look twice. I've looked twice, 3 times this season, and it saved me all 3 times. One of those times I was driving my car. So look twice. It doesn't hurt. So I'm glad to see all you guys here, and I so appreciate you coming by and just hearing my little story. If you want to see that picture, I'll show it again. This is the. I think I'm gonna call this the Tank NATO. It's is that the one? Yeah, here we go. See, I think I'm going to call this the Tank NATO. And if I decide not to fix it, I'm just going to clear over the top of it. But that's half joking. It does, Robbie did bring that up, saying it does look like a twister, a tornado. And he ought to know, living in Oklahoma's. Anyway, you guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'm probably going to show up somewhere later on. If somebody had a live that had maybe had some karaoke in it, I'd probably participate in something like that. But I don't feel like running a panel. Anyway, let me stop sharing this and say thank you all for coming here. Thank you all for being here and hearing my story. Yeah, it's a peanut tank. It's the 3-3. It's the 3-3. And here's the deal why I may never fix it, Chef. Here's the real reason. Um, I'm going to change that for the 1200 4.5 gallon tank from a 2006 or older, because in 2007 they changed to fuel injection. So anyway, that's it. Oh, cool. Maybe I'll pop into Bruce's. Thanks, ABD. I keep forgetting about him on Tuesday nights. So, yes, I will absolutely pop over there tonight. I will see you all over there. Take care. If one of you fantastic people out there happen to drop that link at the end of the thing for his live, yes, I will, Snooks. I promise. I promise. I love you all. Take care.